the hit television show Outlander, we'll recognize our next guest as Claire, the time-traveling nurse who goes between 18th century Scotland with the hunky Jamie Fraser and 20th century America with historian Frank Randall.
I'd like to apply for citizenship.
Really?
I've lived all over the world and I've never really had a strong attachment to England. And I want our child to have a real home.
Our child?
Please welcome the talented Katrina Balf. Listen, if our audience is any indication, people like Outlander just a little bit.
This is a great audience.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you think it is that draws people to the show?
Oh, well, you know, first of all, it's based on this wonderful series of books by Diana Gabaldon, but it has at its heart this great aspirational love story, you know, that traverses time and space, but I think it just has so much else as well. You know, it's political intrigue, it's a period drama, it has lots of action, so it's just very well-rounded show, I think.
Well, you just mentioned being based on the books by Diana Gabaldon, which have been around for at least 25 years, which means there's a legion of fans who have had this world in their mind forever. You step in as the actress to try to personify this, Claire. So what kind of pressure does that put on you as an actress?
Wow, well, luckily I was sort of oblivious to all of that. They cast me very late in the process, so I had about 2 weeks since the time I found out what the show was. And I did my first audition till I was actually in Scotland preparing. So I like to think all that naivete really helped, because if I'd been aware of the huge fandom, I think I would have been feeling the pressure too much. But luckily, yeah, I was just oblivious. So it's good. Ignorance is bliss.
One of the things that Outlander's known for is its amazing love scenes. The sex scenes are quite remarkable. So you and Sam Heughan, who plays, of course, Jamie Fraser, you have incredible chemistry, but a lot of it also seems to have to do with the fact that female pleasure is prioritized in a lot of these love scenes. Do you agree?
Well, yeah, and it's so shocking that that's groundbreaking, right? Because who knew? Women like to have sex too. Oh my God. But yeah, you know, our first season came out, I mean, it's 2014 now. But yeah, it was so surprising that people were like, she's driving the sex and she's taking pleasure and all of these things. And it's just, you know, I love that about the show. I love that you have this woman who's, you know, from the 40s, but is as sexually liberated as, you know, people are now shocked that women are. And I think that's always been the case. It's just we weren't allowed to talk about it so much.
Well, speaking of sex,
Yes.
Jamie and Claire, it's not going to be a spoiler to say, I don't think, that in season 3 they will reunite after being apart for 20 years. So that first time after 20 years, all the hunger and missing each other that's been built up, what was it like to play that scene?
You know, it's funny. You know, everyone knows when you're filming sex scenes, it's, you know, there's a lot of people around. It's always very technical. It's very awkward, but it's obviously a very important scene for these two characters. And you want to give it, you know, you want to do it justice. You can't really think about audience expectation when you're doing something like that. But what I loved about this episode, when you all get to see it, is there was one way that I think we could have gone, which would have been, you know, the violins playing, the angels singing, and the perfect shaft of light coming through the pane window. But I love that it stayed very true to both these characters. It's slightly awkward. You know, they're two people who haven't seen each other in 20 years. So, you know, it takes time for them to, like, get into the rhythm again. Well, or maybe not that long. I don't know.
Tell us a little bit
about how you got this role, because as we understand it, it almost didn't happen, because a whole bunch of things did, and there's a story behind this, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think if anyone who's in this business, the best way to get a job is book a holiday. And you get the job the minute you do that. So I'd given my passport into the Indian embassy because I was going to go on a trip to India, and I was waiting to get my Indian visa. And I got a phone call to say, okay, they want to see you, they want to test you, and you'll probably have to go to London. And I was just like, I don't have my passport. So I called the Indian embassy and I was like, I need my passport back. And they were like, but it's processing. And I was like, but I need it back. And they wouldn't give it back to me. So luckily, they decided to fly Sam to LA, where I was living, to test. But I got my passport back like maybe 2 weeks later with this great visa that I was never going to be able to use. So yeah.
It all worked out.
It worked out in the end.
When we go back to even before acting, you actually started in this industry modeling, and you were walking for the biggest designers in the world in Paris, New York, Milan, of course. Look at you. And we found a modeling photo, and I'm guessing this was maybe taken in Toronto, just a guess. But as you look back now, what are the parallels in those worlds in terms of the work you needed to do as a model versus as an actress?
You know, there's some crossover. Obviously, in the actual process that you're doing, modeling is all about making sure everything looks perfect. Acting is the complete antithesis of that. You know, you cannot be worried about how you look in any scene, because then you're just not in the scene in the moment. But in terms of, you know, traveling around on your own, being responsible, just I think the situations you're in sometimes, I definitely think that having done that helped me. The rejection is definitely something in both businesses that you get used to. But yeah, you know, I feel very fortunate that I got to do that, and I got to travel the world. And
one of the shows you walked in was for Victoria's Secret, which is quite exposing. I understand that you have a funny personal grooming story that goes along with this show. Do tell.
Well, you know, I was a very young Irish girl who just came to the big smoke of New York City. And, you know, there was certain things you had to remove, shall we say. And so my sister, who was living in New York at the time, took me to her lady. Yeah, she was very concerned that I'd been using a razor before. And got very into detail about the comparison between myself and my sister, and all. It was very odd.
It's very intimate from your esthetician.
And now I'm telling it on TV.
There it is.
We're all friends here.
We're all friends.
We've shared some ridiculous stuff.
Well, we can hear it here a little bit, but you are in fact Irish, and I also read somewhere that you are what they call a Gaeilgeoir. A Gaeilgeoir. What does that mean?
Tá mé abba Canshin Gaeilge.
What?
It means I speak Gaelic. Well, I used to be fluent. Now it's very bad. But tá mé inta sásta bheith an seo in aca le Cailíní. So I'm very happy to be here with you ladies.
I would never have guessed that. Wow. I would never have guessed that that's what you were saying. I'm sure it was something nice. I was like, this is like nice, and I've never put those words.
I'm sure there's somebody who's like really fluent watching this, and they're like, that wasn't exactly what you said.
We're going to believe you anyway. We'll believe that that's what you said. Listen, you're a delight, Katrina. Thank you so much. We wish you all the best. The new season of Outlander airs Sunday nights. This season is based on the third book by Diana Gabaldon called Voyager. So guess what? You're all going home with one of these. A copy of the new book.